Are you ready, Alexandria, to address it? To address Chicken
Let
Nugget Gate?
let me get my conference energy set here. This is serious business. Christy, I have something to address with the collective.
Hmm.
Recently, I had a hate comment on my
Comment.
recently I had a hate comment, a hate crime on my Instagram that suggested that me eating chicken nuggets on our past episode of this um show was incredibly disrespectful to the public and that I owe everyone an apology. Um, I will not be apologizing for eating chicken nuggets and feeding my body. And obviously, we're in a scandal now.
I mean, let's be honest. If they were pigs in a blanket, there would be no issue here. So,
Is it because they were gluten-free chicken nuggets?
yes,
Is that
vegan.
is that the controversy?
If they were vegan chicken nuggets, then you'd be all good.
Oh my God. Okay. Well, apparently I'm very disrespectful for feeding and nourishing my female body, and I will not be stopped.
In view of other people.
And
Eat in the privacy of a closed room with no windows, please. Thanks.
I don't think I chewed with my mouth open one time. So lock in. I think people are hangry. Yeah.
Well, sounds like a them problem, not an us problem.
Thank you for that comment. No further questions.
Well, let's continue this conversation. This is two psychics talk about going to the doctor, and we're already talking about women's bodies and what we're allowed and not allowed to do with them for other people's,
Comfort.
comfort. So,
So, how this got brought up is Christy and I always are usually kind of in the same, maybe not always, but we tend to align on what we're doing. And so, Christy went to the doctor yesterday,
yes.
and I went to the doctor this morning, and we were like, should we talk about being sensitive and going to the doctor? And here we are.
Yeah, the way that I go to the doctor now that I have psychic tools is totally different than how I used to. What about you?
Oh my God. Incredibly different. It's an incredibly different experience. And it feels a lot more empowering than it used to feel, for sure. A lot less threatening to my physical form.
I also feel like sometimes you think like, oh, I'm not a doctor. The doctor knows more than me. The doctor is more qualified. I'll just listen to whatever they say. But I feel a certain amount of authority and even like almost like I have an inside scoop that they don't actually have because I can see my energy field and I can look at the energy of any organ in my body or any part of my body and see what energy is living there or stuck there or moving, not moving. And so I feel there's a certain level of equality of like the doctor has their viewpoint of what's happening here, and I have my own authority and viewpoint on what's happening. And that helps a lot.
Yeah. I think when you start to build the certainty that you can heal your own body, you can shift out of any energy, timeline, pain. You look less towards people who have had trainings that are more analytical. And you respect that because medicine is great, but you also don't need to fawn to it or get smaller towards it. You're kind of just like, okay, this is part of being a human. Like part of me for a long time refused going to the doctor. I was very, very resistant. I was like, I don't like the medical system, pharma, all the things. I had my whole arc on that. I was like an anti-medicine. And as I've grown in my own awakening journey and my own, inhabiting my own body and realizing the whole point is to be a human. The whole point of choosing this is to be a human. I'm quite less resistant. to getting some blood taken or getting some data points, or my doctor's actually actively trying to help me. But I think what perhaps was healed in those moments is like I had a lot of distrust towards doctors because they had exerted authority in a place where they couldn't speak to my sensitive body. For
Mm.
example, when you are somebody who has a natural authority, and like our society gives a lot of value to like doctors, lawyers, what
Scientists,
scientists,
engineers.
people who have had this like long arc of intelligence. You're like, oh, they must be smart, they must know what they're talking about. It's very easy for a doctor to put their picture of what's happening to you on you. And when you're a sensitive person, you'll take that into your body and start to run that energy. For example, when I was 18 or 17, 16, um, I got my period really, really late. Like, and the doctor's like, oh, I don't know if that's normal. It is. Your body has its own rhythm. I was also like, didn't have the best nutrition. So I imagine my body was like, I really can't start bleeding yet. Um, there was like thoughts around, oh my gosh, this could be issues with your female cycle, and it wasn't. But my doctor at 18 told me, it sounds like you have endometriosis without any data.
Oh my gosh.
And she said, you'll probably have a hard time getting pregnant.
Oh my gosh, way to program
She
someone.
programmed the fuck out of me. And she literally, and so for my whole, I was married at 19. So for my whole marriage, I was like, well, I'm never going to get pregnant, which was the best birth control
Oh yes, yes.
because I believed I couldn't get pregnant. So it did kind of work in my favor. But ultimately, when you are in a position of authority or power, and you give someone that authority, right, they can program you. So I think for me, having my own sense of like what's right and wrong, like what works for my body, what's somebody else projecting onto me, all that kind of stuff makes it a much easier space to navigate.
Totally. And I think probably the opposite is also true. And I've heard lots of women have this experience, and I have, where a doctor will say, "Oh, you have this disease or this condition or this, you're depressed or something like that." And your instinct is saying, "No, I'm not." Like that can't be, that's not what it is. It's got to be different than that or more than that, or it's, that's not the sense that I'm getting. And that's your intuition coming up. I remember a doctor prescribing me antidepressants, and I because I had chronic pain and I was so upset. I was so like, overwhelmed by it. And they were like, well, take these antidepressants. And I'm like, that's not the problem. The problem is that I'm in pain and my body is so inflamed. And so sometimes there's that reverse reaction of like you're not seeing me. And I know, I mean, that's just pervasive. I feel like when women go to doctors of feeling like we're not seen, we're not represented in trials, in medical studies on things, and our bodies are different. They work different physically and they work different energetically. And when you're sensitive to energy, you're aware when something is not the right answer, not the right fit, or not the right path.
What's coming up for me is this unconsciousness. Hold
Medical trauma?
on, hold on for a second. We're gonna loop it back. This energy around, I'll ask everyone a question here. When's the last time your medical doctor asked where you're at on your cycle?
Not a gynecologist,
Not a gynecologist.
but
No,
anyone.
anyone who's treating you. Mine didn't ask me today, and I love her. So, like, biggest shout out to her. Love her. But ultimately, having the information around your female body helps so much. For example, I had an annual physical today. My doctor was like, hey, like you haven't had a pap smear. This is like the third year. Do you want to do it? And I was sitting there. I'm on day 28 of my cycle. Absolutely fucking not. No. My body is already in a space of hypersensitivity. My hormones are like at the base. and I'm gonna get my period any moment. I'm not gonna piss my luteal woman off like that. No, 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 no. And I hadn't prepared for that. And the way that I always prepare for doctor's appointments that are like a little bit more invasive is I always have an orgasm before. Pleasure, 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 pleasure. If you're gonna go into sterile environments, women need to resource pleasure. Like doctor's offices aren't built with windows, like for privacy, right? But like there has to be a sense of visual security and pleasure when you're going into these experiences that are uncomfortable so that you don't create dysregulation because
Mm.
there's a difference. You can be uncomfortable. A pap smear is uncomfortable. Yeah, it is. It's not a comfortable process, but if you have like the tools, like grounding your energy field, owning the room so nothing can, get in inside you, I guess. Um, you know, giving yourself an orgasm, having enough oxytocin, bringing a comfort item. Like if you give yourself permission to have your own experience and you start to create your experience, it's not that bad.
I love that. Have an orgasm before you go to the doctor.
Always.
Uh, I like to um I like to prepare my body. I like to talk to it, like especially when I go to the dentist, like my least favorite.
Mm.
I'm like, okay, we're gonna get our teeth cleaned. I'll be like, we're gonna get our teeth cleaned. It might hurt, but we're gonna be okay. It's for the best. It's just like preparing whatever part of my body is gonna be poked and prodded on, and just be like, this is, to protect our health, and it might be a little bit uncomfortable, but we're gonna be okay. We're gonna eat well, hydrate well, and if, I'm uncomfortable, I'll advocate for myself. But just like having that conversation with our body and that like internal dialogue, I feel like helps a lot. It's like being our own chaperone. And I think a lot of people, I don't know, I just kind of felt like for me, I don't know if you felt like we both want to be doctors when we were younger? I
Yeah,
was like, I had a fascination with mystery diagnosis. So
I'm obsessed. I don't know if it was like partly because I grew up watching Grey's Anatomy and I like literally thought I was Meredith Grey. Um, I really, really wanted to be a doctor. And I think had I gone to the college I got into for bio, I probably would have done it.
Yeah, I think we both have this natural fascination with the human body and how it works. And it's not a coincidence that we work in the energy body, like on a layer that medical doctors normally they don't look at. They don't even acknowledge that it exists, most of them.
Well,
But
it's a different
yeah,
reality, right? Like, okay, the doctor is working in the physical plane, right? Like very physical ailments. But for sensitive people, most of what's happening is like in the layers of your aura,
I mean
in
for
your chakra
everyone,
system.
for
For
everyone,
everyone,
yeah.
but like when it manifests in the physical, that means it's been there for a long
Yeah,
time.
that means it's been floating here and you haven't been able to see it, and then it
And
comes in here.
not talking about like injury or accident because like I'm a firm believer in emergency medicine, love to see it. But yeah, I had an experience last year that you got to be with me
Oh
through where I
yeah.
was hospitalized 3 times and I was so annoyed because I was like, I'm gonna go spend a lot of money for them to tell me what is wrong. So I went in
What's
there.
wrong?
Yes, yeah, I'm like, they're like, we can't figure it out. And I'm literally over there like, well, that's because it's my nervous system. I'm having a nervous system collapse right now based off of like not being able to run my energy, massive amounts of grief and a big shift happening that my body really couldn't hold at that time. And they were like, oh my God, it could be this, it could be this, it could be this. And I'm very sensitive to
Oh
medical
yeah.
pictures. As a psychic surgeon, I'm sure, like someone will tell me their medical ailment, and I'm like, God damn it. I'm gonna like move it out of my space. But yeah, I was in this situation to where a lot of other external analytical energy was coming at me of like, well, it could be this, it could be GERD, it could be blah blah blah. And I'm over here like, why? And I was like, well, guess what the energetics are saying. And then I did exactly what I did and I healed myself. So it's not to say that the medical system isn't great. Had I broken my arm, had I had some kind of laceration, it's to say like they're not going to treat a problem based off of energetics, like based off of being highly sensitive, maybe having some foreign energy in your field, being able to be like disconnected from your life force. Like they're not going to be able to solve that. That's why you would come see Christy and I.
Right, right. I think you and I both understand that, like, by the time, like you were saying, by the time you have a physical symptom, the energetic symptoms have been there for a while. And so you still need to treat the physical symptom, but also the energy, if you could treat the physical symptom and the energetic symptom can still be there, like floating around in your space, just like waiting, like, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here, I'm discomfort, I'm grief, I'm unprocessed anger, it's sitting in your stomach, you know? So it's kind of like, what's a good analogy? It's kind of like if you have a plant and you're just treating like like the roots and the leaf, or the you're just treating the leaves and the flower part and the stem part, and you're ignoring what's going into the soil and the roots. You know, it's like that's what's feeding the rest of the plant. So yeah, I mean, I'm interested in looking at both the physical and the energetic and how they kind of like link together, because that's like, I think that's why I like mystery diagnosis, because I'm like, I'm gonna solve the mystery.
Well, I think that's essentially a psychic gift, right? Like I love to look at an energy and I'll like light somebody's liver up and I'm like, what is that? Like, what is the energy sitting there? That's what we do. We just don't do it in the way where I need to cut into your body to see it.
Yeah.
Thank God, because like
Convenient.
that would really not be well. But yeah, I think that being a healer is so wonderful, and doctors are healers. They're just trained in a different way. And so I've had really, and I think this is important, I've had really lovely experiences with my doctor here. She's so wonderful. She listens to me. I feel such great rapport with her. I don't have any pushback on asking for anything that I need. And she wrote in my notes one time, she goes, do not do not push pharmaceuticals on her. I like saw it in the note. And I'm like, I was really anti-medicine for a while just because I was learning how to heal my body with my own energy. And I did have a prescription recently. I never picked it up though.
You're like, never mind.
Um,
Well, sometimes we have those like, it's like that reverse reaction of like, I've been harmed by this in the past, so
yeah,
I'm just gonna go in the total. It's like
just
when people leave the
the
church, they
wing.
become atheist. It's like the
Yeah,
the the total opposite pendulum swing, and then you eventually find like a middle ground that you're comfortable with. So,
which is great. And like, ultimately, not every system is perfect. The healthcare system has its limitations. And everyone who's listening to this, you are powerful enough to not have to match that vibration to have your own experience. Like you get to have your own experience with your medical doctors. You get to set that energy. And that's what we're teaching in psychic school is like, how do I set that energy? How do I make it comfortable for me without collapsing around somebody else's perceived sense of who I am, authority, control, because there is a lot of control in the medical system. And behind that control is a lot of fear that we don't have control of our bodies. And I just am so grateful to have been on this journey and have a lot more space, but it's also because pleasure. And I think too, like, what changed the reality of my entire life and the trajectory when I was so sick and like, oh my God, I have an autoimmune disorder was just kind of getting back to my meditation space and doing the breath work weekly. Like, breath work quite literally changed all of that dysregulation in about 4 weeks. And then after that, it was like, oh, I'm not on my path. I need to be doing what I'm afraid of and starting to metabolize some of that fear. It was really all fear. That's really what it was. And then beyond that, if you're walking a path that's asking more from you, which my path was, it was saying you're going to live alone, you're going to make all of your own money, you're going to be a psychic teacher, it dropped into my space and I said, oh, fuck. Part of that was that I didn't have the physical strength to do it. So I had to start working out. And when I started working out, all of my health symptoms went away. It was great. But I was also spiritually jacked. So, like,
Mhm.
part of the first part of it for me, and I'm sure for you too, is the spiritual. Like, if you're highly sensitive, you need to get spiritually jacked, meaning you need to have a reinforced aura. You need to be able to see energy. You need to be able to sit with energy. You need to separate from energy. Like, all of these things are like crucial, I think, before the physical body.
Yeah, well, they help the energy to move. So sometimes the physical body gets so stuck and frozen. Like my body was frozen in pain. The energy was just so stuck. And then once I learned the tools of like how to move the energy, the subtle energy in my body, then it started moving the physical energy. And then whereas I couldn't bring myself to work out or go to the gym or see the doctor or anything, it was like suddenly I was able to do those things and to take steps and to become physically stronger and have a better diet. And so it can be a little bit deceiving because sometimes energy work seems it's so subtle and you think like, "Oh, I'm just meditating, I'm just doing this visualization." But it removes the blocks that are preventing you from finding the right practitioner, finding the right modality that will support, doing the lifestyle changes that are going to help you feel better. So the energy work removes the blocks, and then you can start to take those steps. And then the great thing that we notice is they start feeding each other. So then like you could be in meditation, get stuck on an energy and be like, you know what, I'm just gonna go for a walk, or I'm gonna go to the gym, or I'm gonna take a shower and then or get some body work done and
All
then
those things.
yeah or all of the above, and the physical feeds the energetic and the energetic helps move the physical, and then you're in this harmonious and then you can kind of look in your aura in your space and be like, oh, that's moving and that's moving but that's stuck, and kind of you have lots more points with which to address and move the energy than just physical.
Mm, yeah, which is such a wonderful place to be. Is to have like this holistic approach. And I think when it comes to the doctor, like the doctor is included, the dentist is included. All of these things are trying to be as, and if you haven't been in a while, like there's so much more modern things that are happening right now. Like, for example, when I check into my doctor now, they ask me if they have consent to share birth control with me. I
Hmm.
always say no because
Hmm.
I don't fuck with birth control. But me and my anti-medicine energy. Yeah, so I definitely think that the resistance to things makes it so much worse. And like today, I had blood taken. It was a lot of vials. I got really like lightheaded, and I was like, "Ugh." And then I recovered from it. And that's the whole point of having grounded awareness, psychic tools, owning your sensitivity, but also having capacity in your nervous system, and the capacity from your nervous systems comes from validating your sensitivity. You can't have nervous system capacity if you don't validate that you're sensitive and that most of the stuff that is in your field is not yours. Because how would you have capacity if you're filled to the brim with other people's stuff? And I think that's what a lot of other, I think that's what's missing. And it's just in general, like nervous system work without energetics.
Yeah.
And that's why we created a school that talks about energetics, but also complements the nervous system and the female body. Because again, when is the last time your doctor asked you where you're at in your cycle? Not, on their little form, when's the last time they were like curious about that? Because luteal, I have much less capacity to deal with. I'm surprised I got blood done on this, but I needed to get it done today. And I had to negotiate that with myself because I love what you said, Christy. Like, let's make a negotiation with the body. Like, hey, here's the information. I love you, and you're going to get a treat after. Whatever it is you need to do to make that repair with your body is vital. But I was like, fuck, how did this happen? How did this day 28? Okay, fine. So tonight, guess what I'm repairing her with? She just told me. Guess what it is?
Steak?
Yeah, psychic. What is the temperature of the steak that I like?
Oh, the temperature of the
I'm
steak?
sorry. What is,
Like
yeah,
medium rare? Like
yeah.
that?
hmm
Is it medium rare?
It is, of
Oh,
course.
okay.
I just want you to know, in
Well, I
case
did
you're
know.
wondering.
Yeah. Because I want to take you on a date.
In case you want to take me on a date for our
On day
next money, on
28.
our next money date that we have, in case we want to do steak night, because like we're both luteal, so. But yeah, like during ovulation and follicular, you might have more capacity to have a pap smear, to like take blood, to give, right? In luteal, I'm like reserving. If you're having a baby, progesterone is reserving your energy to start cooking. It's coming in. I gotta cook, I gotta cook, I gotta cook, I gotta like bring everything in. And that's why women who go through menopause are like, fuck you to everyone because they're bringing their energy back in. Estrogen is our caretaking hormone, so it's bringing our energy out to fix, solve, heal, to be relational. Progesterone says, nah, I'm going home and I don't want to talk to anyone. And so today I was like, do I have the capacity to have a pap smear? And I said, fuck no. No. Chrissy, no.
Yeah.
What are your tips before going to the doctor? And like what has been your experience
Well, I
like?
certainly, to your point of like planning when the visit is, I plan it around my cycle. Like I just had a doctor visit and I was like, oh, I want to do it, an early luteal, not late luteal, and working it around my schedule with that. And then also like before I even schedule a doctor's appointment, I look at the energy on my own of like whatever the issue is. And I look at like what the emotion is. And I'm like, if, say, because I had an issue with my leg, I went to see my chiropractor. And beforehand, I was like, all right, leg, what's going on? What's going on here? And there was just all this fear. I mean, our legs move us forward, they help us take our next step. And there was a step that I've been like, "Ugh," you know, I've been like overexerting myself, pushing too hard, but then also like, kind of freezing on. And it was just that fear of like, what's going to happen when I take this step? And so going in with that knowledge of like, okay, there's an emotion living in this, in my body. And thankfully I have a practitioner I can trust who can help me move it because sometimes even when you have these tools, you're not going to use them perfectly. You're not going to see everything. You're not going to be like, I never have any problems because I'm clairvoyant and I can see all my next steps. No, like we still rely on other people to take care of us. And the best part is, I've noticed this as I've gotten more and more like, in this realm is my level of providers has up leveled. It's like I find a new doctor, or I find a new practitioner, or I find a new support, and I'm just like, wow, I just took a step because this is the level of care I can have now. So I noticed the other thing I do before, like especially seeing a new practitioner, is I just kind of get a sense of resonance. I booked an appointment with a new practitioner yesterday within 2 hours of finding out, being referred, told about them because it felt like such resonance when I looked into her practice and her Instagram. I was just like, and then I had a phone call and I was like, we're on the same page. I'm booking my appointment. And that's how when you become aware of that resonance, you're not debating like, should I go to this doctor or this doctor? It's just like so clear. Yeah.
That's her. Yeah. That's what people say when they like see Instagram reels of mine. They're like, resonance.
Hmm.
I just booked it because I felt like it. That's just like the natural, intuitive way. I felt the same way when I saw this practice. It's like 35 minutes away from where I live, but I'll drive out there because I was like, I want a small family practice. I want doctors who are happy in their lives. And I want doctors who are really open-minded. And I originally had something scheduled with one, and then I ended up seeing like the nurse practitioner there. I love her. Her training's amazing. I enjoy seeing her. We're always smiling. We always have a good time. We were joking about the last time I had a pap smear, the whole building's power went out.
Oh my God.
You know this.
Oh my gosh.
This is a good one. I
You
was
took the building's power out with your vagina?
I did.
Holy
Like
shit. Were you
ultimately
serving?
that did gas me up a bit.
You're like,
Like
damn, she's powerful.
Spirit was like, I'll protect her at all costs. Like no pap smear for her. Bam! Turn the power went out for like a while. I was like, we're doing this in the dark. I'm laughing on the table. I'm like, because for you and I, that's a normal day of like
Oh yeah,
things
yeah.
happening like that,
To redirect us. Yeah.
redirecting us. Like our lives are so lived in relationship with spirit that like, of course the power is going out. Something's about to get cleared. Like, so we kind of just sit back and let it play out. I mean,
Mm.
I'm like, that's interesting. I don't go into like, should I not be doing this? I'm just like, everyone's lit up in this building because I'm here.
Yeah. Well, let me just watch how this unfolds and see
Yeah,
how it
I'm like,
serves
huh.
me.
I'm like, are we all going through a growth period together? Let's do it. And so I really enjoy my doctor's office, and I've had such easier experiences recently with like needles. That was like a big fear of mine, and I got to blow all of that, being hospitalized and poked and blah blah blah. And I started getting like when I was really sick, like IVs.
Oh.
So I feel like I'm at the point where I'm just like, okay, we can do that. We can do that safely. But yeah, it's been such a wonderful experience lately because having your health is so important. And I find that so many highly sensitive women are developing autoimmune diseases and having these chronic mysterious health issues and like, you know, gaining weight randomly. And now it's like PCOS, which just transferred to some other phrase and blah blah. And again, some of that is pictures or programs from the medical system. And
Mm.
when we take it a step further, when I think of PCOS or I think of endometriosis, first of all, I'm like, what is your female line? Like, like your lining of your endometrium has so much to do with like your female line,
Like
like
ancestors, ancestral line.
ancestral line, your ability to let go of energy. Oh my God. And I've seen this kind of throughout my female line. Like my grandma had a hysterectomy, my mom had polyps, and I've just kind of watched it and I'm like, no. Um,
Hmm. No,
but
thank you.
it's like,
Unsubscribe.
you know, I was so concerned because I had four chin hairs because I'm Italian. God fucking damn it. That
Not
I
the
had
chin hairs.
not the chin hairs, and I had to like get them off that I had PCOS. And I was like, fuck. And I was like, do I have PCOS? Like, no, no, no. And I was like, I got tested for it. They're like, everything looks okay. I'm like convincing myself. And, ultimately, I did have some kind of metabolic resistance. And reversing that by working out and being aware of blood sugar was amazing. But also, a lot of that was energy. So much of it was my relationship with my mom. And like when we look at, because Christy and I can literally look at hormones. So we're like, oh, what's progesterone doing? Or like, what's this? Like when you can read energy, you can look at the energy of your third toenail.
Yeah.
What you just look at it.
You can look at genetic energy. I mean,
Right.
yeah. And I want to also add and just validate that like if you're in a female body, you've probably had some form of medical, experience or trauma or difficulty or challenge that has made you kind of afraid of seeing doctors or created this sense of seriousness of like going to the doctor is a scary thing or a painful thing. I mean, think about getting vaccines as an infant, it's like when you take a dog to the vet and those videos of like they're in the car and they know they're at the vet and they're like that fear is real. And that is all energy that we worked in our psychic training to release that so that we can now have such playful and happy memories with our doctors and experiences where we go to the doctor and could just be like, yay, I'm good. This didn't just come to us. This was years spent moving the energy from past experiences, ours and our families and our past lives, where the medical system did us dirty. And that's what the work looks like. That's the point of it is to create more capacity to have comfortable experiences, alignment, resonance, harmony with our body, being able to see our energy and heal it ourselves or in partnership with another practitioner. And so that's the point of doing this work is working on those layers.
Yeah, and to speak to like the female body, like we have such a different and sensitive and highly attuned system. And so I would assume if you're in a female body, you've had an experience with like endometriosis, PCOS, ruptured cyst, um, some kind of vaginal problem at some point in your life, right? There hasn't been enough research done on female bodies at all. And so there's naturally like the energy of violation or a fear. There's all this stuff that sits in the womb based on protection because we don't train our doctors to say, oh, women need oxytocin. Okay, great. Like, how do we make that part of the
Care plan.
procedure,
Yeah.
right? Like, oh, women have high pain tolerances. The fuck? Um, I like when we start to validate our sensitivity, we realize that we can make adjustments for ourselves. Like, ugh, I just got like chills and like a good gut. Like, whoa. When we validate our sensitivity, we can make those adjustments. We don't need to give our authority to the doctor to make them. It means, hi, I'm your patient. I'm paying you. I'm coming in orgasmed up. Maybe don't tell them that.
I like the color blue. Give me a blue gown, not a green
Yeah.
gown.
No, like or like when I'm getting blood taken in the room, I always find the favorite color in the room and I
Yeah.
focus on it. That's
Beautiful.
going to give me enough safety to have this experience that is a little bit
Wow.
uncomfortable. I'm neurocepting. Like today it was the vial, the purple vial, and he's like, "Ooh, you like that purple? It's pretty." Um, but yeah, it's like we've all had these experiences as women, and it's like, okay, great. The medical system doesn't need to change for us to change our experience within it.
That's a really good point of like, because I think I get stuck in this a lot of like, I need to heal the medical system so that everyone can have good care. No, we create our reality. We create exactly the experiences we can have. And Lord knows there are really great providers out there in every field. And it's like men. It's like there are good men. You got to find them. You know, if you're in the vibration, they'll find you. It's like a magnet. And there's also this sense that this energy in the medical community of invalidation. Like we know your body better than you do. You don't actually know what's going on in your body. You can't know. And that is just ripping women's wisdom right out of their own hands. Like, of course we know what's going on in our body. How could we not? We're connected to the earth. We're connected to the moon. We're connected to each other. Like we have more knowing than what the system wants us to have.
And just allowing it sometimes to be simple. Like if you are to, one of the most core things I learned from somatic training is oftentimes we don't get to have our experience because we haven't validated that we believe that we're having our experience. So like putting a hand on your chest or a part of your body or whatever it is, just like making that connection and being like, I believe you. That blood draw was hard and you
Hmm.
did it. I believe you. Ouch. One of my favorite things my therapist does is when something is like painful, she'll go, ouch. And I'm like, yeah,
Yeah,
like,
that did
yeah, it
hurt.
really hurt. She's like, ouch. Like she is like
Yeah.
visibly, she goes, ugh. Like, and that's what we need in our mirroring process, right? Like when we've been trained so hard to not show any empathy, this like medical way of like patient quiet, you know? And it's like, I see somebody I love crying, I'm gonna cry with them. It doesn't make me less of a space holder to show them that what you're going through is hard. It hurts me, it hits me too. Not from a place where I'm like spitting out and
You're
crying more than
matching.
them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
like come on. But like from a place of like seeing you in pain brings emotions up in me too, and that's okay. And I think that like my point is as a female body, sometimes the answer is so simple that you don't believe yourself. For me, I thought it was like, oh my God, I have all these ailments and da, da, da. Like, I remember I had chronic migraines as a kid. Like, little did we know I'm just a fucking medium.
True story.
Little did we know, also not just being a medium on the physical, my blood sugar was so fucking dysregulated. I did not eat consistently. Those two things kind of come into relationship with each other. not eating and dysregulated blood sugar and mediumship, and we could talk more about that at some point, but those two things are directly related for me because with not eating, you go out of body. Okay, we'll get into it. We'll talk about that
Mm.
later. Let us know if you want to hear more about that in the comments, please. And please subscribe because we do want you to hang out with us for a bit. And so, yeah, I just think it can be really simple. Like I remember my intuition being like, cut caffeine. And I don't drink caffeine. I was like,
Hmm.
it works. Um, that quite literally was the migraine thing, but it was the spikes in blood sugar throughout my day on a deeper level. But for me, with what happened medically last year, it was quite literally, I don't feel safe or supported to move through how much grief is moving through my body.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not taking a,
And
any.
and a pill that masks the grief just masks the energy. It just suppresses it more. So of
Yeah.
course it's gonna come out in another way if it's not addressed. And I think a lot of people, a lot of us have that intuition, and it is simple, but then we try to overanalyze it of like, it can't be that simple. It has to be complicated. What about what did I read? What did this person have? What did I see on Instagram? It might be this. And then we get real analytical trying to solve the mystery of the body, you know?
The body's like, can you just believe that I'm in pain for like 2 seconds? And
Yeah,
it's
just
hard to do when it's chronic. I've been
yeah.
there. Um, yeah, I mean, like part of me when I had acid reflux was like not letting myself be angry, not letting myself be, I don't even want to say like hateful, but like like not letting myself have the permission to say what I need to get out, not in a way of harming people, but stuffing down my discomfort, my what I needed, like stuffing that all down, and then the acid being like, I can't burn all this energy, like it's
Hmm.
coming up. And not making that a bad thing. I think oftentimes we as sensitive women make our emotions a bad thing, or spiritual women, there's a perfect picture of like, I'm not allowed to hate something. That's a big one for
Hmm.
me. I'm not allowed to
Oh yeah,
hate
yeah.
anything.
Hate is ugly.
Hey, you can't
And
hate.
only
uh,
strongly dislike.
you have to like somehow sit as long as you can so you can
You have
like it.
to heal yourself enough that you never hate anyone or
Yeah.
anything.
And it's like ultimately, if we talk about hate in the way of like kind of taking it away from like removing humanity, because that's what hate really is, but it's like, not my preference, didn't fucking like you. You don't have to like everyone. And I think as a sensitive woman, like not like owning that you don't have to like everyone is a massive success.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well,
You can
what I like about all the stories, the personal stories we shared of our various ailments, is that we were able to move through all of them. Like we're both healthy. We both moved through like we both had our physical challenges. And what's great when you know that you can run energy is that like you energy moves. Anything in the body moves, changes. I was the type of person who just got stuck in labels of like, I'll always have this condition. I'll always be living with this because I read, you know. And it's like, no, the best thing about learning how to work with energy is understanding that it moves and you can move it.
Nothing is stationary. We're quite literally on a spinning planet with 4 seasons. Nothing can ever stay the same here, and just something will change always. And it also helps when you show up to do that change consciously.
Yeah.
Um, had I avoided any of my changes, and you have the tools to do that change consciously. Like if you're avoiding the breathwork class, if you're avoiding showing up to the healing, if you're avoiding, I was avoiding it. I stopped psychic training. That's why I got so sick. I was like, fuck, I have all this energy. And there's nowhere for
Yeah.
it to go. Um,
And
so
that
go ahead.
makes it so much easier for a doctor or a healer, you know, or anybody that you're working with to actually support you. If you are co-creating that experience, if you're healing yourself, if you're showing up in partnership with that relationship, it makes it so much easier for it to work.
Yeah. It's nice to get compliments from your doctor. Like, oh,
Oh my
you're so
God. I love
healthy
being the
now.
favorite
I'm like,
patient.
I know because I'm not like they're like, why are you here? That's the vibe.
I always try to impress them. Like I know this and this and this, and I did this. This is what I saw in my energy field that I think it is. And they'll be like, you were right.
Christine, I love gold stars.
Yeah.
I did ask for a gold star sticker after I got my blood
I was like, where are
drawn
the
today
lollipops?
because I think we are the same level of ambitious kind of girlies. We're
Yeah.
like, did we master doctor's offices today? We did. And I'm like, I think I love the neutrality that I have found. It doesn't mean I don't have the emotions or the fear or the things don't come up, but like the relationships are so much better and everything moves. It's just it's wonderful not to be so fucking anxious. Holy shit. That was an intense arc of my life.
Yeah. Well, if anyone wants to learn how to move energy.
If you wanted to be a doctor in this life and then didn't,
But you're afraid of blood. You don't have to
I
work
got
with blood. You can
you
work with
don't,
energy.
which you might see blood. I don't know. From your third eye.
No
A
promises.
little bit less and less physical, which I actually appreciate for my space because like mm, I don't like seeing blood. No, no.
Yeah, you don't have to.
Except for period blood, that's
I
fun.
mean, period bloods, yeah.
It's cool as hell.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Well,
we're
tell us in the comments where you're at in your cycle. We'd love to know. Just tell, like, and start to ask yourself that before anything that you do, because it's like the best question I've ever been asked. And I'm like, I don't expect anyone to know about my female body more than me. So I'm just like, okay, well, I'm in luteal, so no pap smear. We'll get back to you on that. Avoids it for 3 more years. I'm kidding, kind of. She knew I was gonna avoid it, that's why. She's like, sure you don't want to do it today? You're here. I was like,
it's
no.
the worst argument. You're here.
I'm
Just let
like,
me
no,
scrape your
babe.
cervix.
I'm like, no, baby, I'm not. I'm not here enough for that.
Good for you. Well, y'all know where to find us.
If you're interested in working, let me pitch them. If you're interested in learning how to work with energy, we have psychic school, and we also have a new course offer called Awaken Your Third Eye, which does does help move an energy, a layer of medical energy. So if you're like, I'm lit up, oh my God, I'm gonna get through this episode, blah, 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 you can just go purchase that course right now and do a little 60-minute meditation and see what moves for you because there might be a big shift.
Yeah, I mean, that's how we learned is training our third eye, so it's a great place to start.
Okay. We're gonna post that all in the comments and you'll catch us here when you do.
Take good care. Bye. See you next time.